The mop squeaked against the gym floor as Malik pushed it across the polished wooden surface. The scent of sweat and old leather hung in the air. Most of the students had already left, their chatter fading into the night outside, but Malik stayed behind as he always did, quiet, unnoticed, wiping away the footprints left by the day. His work shirt clung to him, damp with effort, his shoulders broad, his hair peppered with grey. To most he was invisible, the janitor who kept the place clean so others could shine. But tonight was different. At the far end of the mat, Tyler was still practicing. 17 years old, tall for his age, with the proud, unbent posture of someone who thought himself untouchable. A black belt tied tightly around his waist, a gleam of arrogance in his eyes. He had stayed longer than usual, perhaps to prove something, perhaps because he wasn't finished showing off. His friends had already left, but the echo of their laughter still hung in the room, laughter that Malik had grown used to hearing, laughter that always carried a trace of superiority when it brushed against him. Tyler noticed Malik moving silently along the floor. For a moment he smirked, twirling his belt in his fingers as if it were a trophy. "Hey," Tyler's voice broke the silence. "Old man, you ever think about what it's like to actually be on the mat instead of cleaning it?" Malik paused, his mop resting against the bucket. He looked up slowly, his dark eyes steady but unreadable. "Can't say I've thought about it much," he replied calmly. "My job's to make sure the mat's ready for you, not for me." Tyler tilted his head, sensing an opportunity for amusement. "Come on, you're here every night watching us train. You must wonder if you could handle it. Tell you what, why don't we spar, just for fun?" The words echoed in the empty gym. Malik said nothing at first. He set the mop aside, his hands steady, his breathing even. The boy's tone was playful, but Malik heard what lay beneath: the condescension, the challenge born not from curiosity, but from pride. Tyler wanted to prove himself, to make the janitor a punchline in his personal story. "You don't want that," Malik said quietly. Tyler chuckled. "Why not? Afraid I'll embarrass you?" There was no anger in Malik's eyes, only patience, a patience that came from years of being underestimated, dismissed, unseen. He let the silence stretch until Tyler shifted uncomfortably. Then finally he said, "All right." Tyler blinked. "All right? You want to spar?" Malik nodded. "Then let's spar." The boy's grin widened. He rushed to the center of the mat, bouncing lightly on his toes, cracking his knuckles. Malik walked over slowly, almost reluctantly, untying the apron from his waist. He folded it neatly, set it aside, then stepped onto the mat barefoot. His movements were deliberate, almost too calm, as if every step carried weight. Tyler raised his fists. "Don't worry, I'll go easy on you." Malik simply stood, hands lowered at his sides. His posture was relaxed, too relaxed, almost insulting. Tyler mistook it for weakness. "Ready?" Tyler barked. Malik gave a single nod. In the first instant, Tyler lunged forward, throwing a quick jab. Malik didn't flinch. Instead, he shifted his body just an inch, letting the fist glide past him as if it had been aimed at air. Tyler's brow furrowed. He threw another punch, faster this time. Again, Malik slipped aside with the smallest movement, his feet barely making a sound against the mat. "What the?" Tyler muttered, frustration creeping into his voice. A third strike, a fourth. Each one missed, not because Malik was quicker, but because he seemed to know where the punch was going before Tyler had even finished moving. The boy's breathing grew heavier, his rhythm faltering. His pride forced him forward, faster, harder, sloppier. Malik's eyes never left him, steady, calm, unshaken. And then, in one swift motion, Malik raised a hand, not to strike, but to guide. He caught Tyler's wrist mid-swing, and with a gentle twist redirected the boy's momentum. Tyler stumbled, his balance lost, crashing onto the mat with a thud that echoed across the gym. Silence. Tyler lay there, stunned. His black belt looked suddenly meaningless against the truth that had just unfolded. Malik hadn't hit him. Malik hadn't even tried to hurt him. He had simply shown him how fragile his power was when built only on ego. Tyler sat up, his face flushed with anger and embarrassment. "You," he started, but the words caught in his throat. He couldn't form them. He looked at Malik, who simply extended a hand to help him up. The boy hesitated, pride and shame warring inside him, before finally taking the hand. Malik pulled him to his feet effortlessly. "You're strong," Malik said softly. "But strength isn't what you think it is." Tyler swallowed hard, his chest heaving. Who are you?" Malik didn't answer right away. He picked up his folded apron, draped it over his arm, and turned back toward the mop and bucket. His voice came low, steady, carrying a weight that cut deeper than any punch. Just a man who learned the hard way what respect really means. Tyler stood frozen, his black belt suddenly heavy around his waist. His pride cracked open like fragile glass. He didn't understand yet what had just happened, but deep down, he knew this night would not leave him the same. And so it began. The dojo was quieter than usual the next day. The chatter that once filled the room had been replaced with whispers, stolen glances, and the lingering awe from what had happened the night before. Tyler walked in, his bag slung over his shoulder, his usual cocky swagger dimmed, almost gone. His friends, those who once hyped him up, looked at him differently now, not with admiration, but with a mix of confusion and curiosity. No one laughed, no one teased. They were still processing how the janitor had handled their top student so effortlessly. Tyler dropped his bag on the bench and sat down, rubbing his hands together, lost in thought. His pride was still aching, but something else gnawed at him, an unsettling mix of shame and respect. The memory replayed over and over, the janitor, Malik, moving with grace, precision, and calmness that Tyler had never seen, not even in his own instructors. Just then the door opened and Malik entered, wearing his same faded work uniform, mop bucket rolling beside him. His expression was calm, as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. He gave a polite nod to the students, who now looked at him with newfound reverence. Tyler's jaw tightened. He stood, took a deep breath, and walked over. "Hey, Malik," he said, voice uncertain but steady. Malik turned, raising an eyebrow. "Yes, Tyler?" Tyler shifted on his feet, struggling with the words. "About yesterday. I didn't mean to disrespect you. I thought it'd be funny. I thought I'd prove something. But you embarrassed me." Malik didn't flinch. "I didn't embarrass you, Tyler. You embarrassed yourself. Pride does that. I only showed you the truth you weren't ready to face." The words cut deep, but there was no cruelty in Malik's tone, just truth. Tyler clenched his fists, then let them loosen. "I need to know," Tyler pressed, his voice carrying a new weight. "How you did that. You're a janitor. You shouldn't move like that. You shouldn't fight like that. Who are you?" Malik's eyes softened as if Tyler had finally asked the right question. He glanced around at the curious faces now watching, then motioned toward the back door. "Walk with me." The two stepped outside, where the cool evening air wrapped around them. The sun was dipping low, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Malik leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Tyler stood in front of him, desperate for answers. "You want to know who I am?" Malik said quietly. "But you're asking the wrong thing. It's not about who I am, it's about what I've learned." "Then teach me," Tyler said quickly, almost begging. "Please, I can't stop thinking about it. Everyone in there looks at me differently now. I'm supposed to be the best, but you made me feel like a beginner again. I don't want to be that guy anymore. Teach me what you know." Malik studied him for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he shook his head. "You're not ready." Tyler's chest tightened. "Not ready? After what happened yesterday, don't you think I need this more than ever?" Malik stepped closer, his gaze steady, piercing. "You don't need what I know, Tyler. You need what I've lived. And no lesson comes free. You can't just demand wisdom like ordering food from a menu. You have to earn it." The words sank deep, but Tyler's stubbornness flared. "Then how do I earn it? Tell me what to do." Malik paused, then sighed, his tone softening. "Respect, humility, discipline. Those are the first steps. You thought fighting was about power. It isn't. It's about control, it's about peace. If you can't learn to humble yourself, you'll never learn anything real." Tyler swallowed hard, nodding slowly. The fire in him wasn't gone, it had just shifted. Okay, then I'll prove I can be humble. I'll do whatever it takes. Malik gave a small, almost sad smile. Words are easy, Tyler. Actions are harder. You want to train with me? Then start by cleaning the dojo with me tonight. Tyler blinked, caught off guard. What? How you heard me, Malik said firmly. Pick up a mop, sweep the floors, scrub the mats. If you can't respect the space where warriors train, you don't deserve to learn how warriors fight. For a long moment, Tyler stood frozen, pride wrestling with humility. His friends weren't there to see him now, but his ego still screamed in protest. Yet deep down, he knew this was a test, and maybe the most important one he'd ever face. Finally, Tyler nodded. All right, hand me a mop. That night, the sight was almost surreal. The dojo's brightest star, the black belt who strutted with arrogance, was now side by side with the janitor, scrubbing sweat from the mats. Malik worked silently, his movement steady and methodical. Tyler followed, his hands blistering, his back aching but his mind strangely clear. After a while, Tyler broke the silence. Why do you do this? You're clearly more than just a janitor, so why stay here cleaning up after kids like me? Malik stopped scrubbing and sat back on his heels, looking at Tyler with a depth that startled him. Because, Tyler, greatness isn't about who sees you. It's about who you become when no one's watching. I clean because it reminds me every day to stay grounded, to never forget where I came from. Tyler swallowed, staring at him, searching his face. And where did you come from? Malik's eyes flickered with something. Pain, memory, perhaps even regret. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he said, That's a story for another night. For now, finish the floor. Lesson 1 isn't about me, it's about you. Tyler lowered his gaze, gripping the mop tighter. For the first time, he worked without complaint, without ego. Just silence, sweat, and a faint, growing respect for the man beside him. As the dojo lights dimmed and the two finished their work, Tyler finally understood something he'd never seen before. The strongest man in the room wasn't always the loudest, or the one wearing the belt. Sometimes it was the one who swept the floor after everyone else went home. And in that moment, Tyler knew. His real training was only just beginning. The dojo was quiet the next evening, but not empty. Tyler came in before class started, carrying his gi-bag in one hand and a storm of emotions in his chest. He hadn't slept much. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Malik's calm expression as he dismantled him on the mat without breaking a sweat. It wasn't just the defeat that kept him awake. It was the respect that man carried with him, a respect Tyler had never managed to earn despite all his belts and trophies. Malik was already there, mopping the floor. The bucket of water was by his side, his hands working steadily, humming an old tune under his breath. His movements were deliberate, like a ritual, like the floor itself was sacred. Tyler hesitated for a moment, then walked over. "Hey, Malik," he said, trying to sound casual, but his voice cracked slightly. Malik looked up, the corners of his eyes crinkling into a smile. "Evening, champ. Ready for round 2? Tyler laughed nervously. "I don't think I'm ready for another beating yet. I actually wanted to talk." Malik wrung out the mop and leaned it against the wall. "Talk? Sure. About what?" Tyler looked around, making sure no one else was near. "About you. Who are you, really? You're not just a janitor. The way you moved yesterday, the way you read me before I even knew what I was going to do. That's not just skill. That's something else." Malik chuckled softly, shaking his head. "I'm just a man who's lived a little longer than you, Tyler. And life. Life is the best sparring partner you'll ever face." Tyler pressed, his frustration bubbling. "No, come on. That's not enough. You've clearly trained, you've clearly fought. Why are you here cleaning floors when you could be teaching in here?" He pointed at the mats. Malik's eyes grew distant, as if they were looking backward in time. He walked slowly to the edge of the mat and sat down. Tyler followed, sitting cross-legged in front of him like a student before a teacher, even though he wasn't sure when that shift had happened. Malik took a deep breath. "You really want to know?" Tyler nodded firmly. Malik rested his hands on his knees. "Years ago, I was just like you. Young, fiery, proud. I wanted to prove I was the best. I trained hard, fought hard, won titles, I wore my black belt like it was armor. And everywhere I went, I thought people owed me respect because of it. But life has a way of reminding you that respect isn't worn around your waist. It's carried in your heart. Tyler leaned forward, captivated. What happened? Malik's voice softened. I was 28 when my coach signed me up for an international tournament. I went in hungry, ruthless. I fought like every opponent was my enemy, like every match was war. And I won. But after one fight, I saw the look on my opponent's face. He was injured, badly, because I refused to ease up when I should have. He couldn't walk right after that. A man's future was taken from him because I let my ego drive me. That night, I realized I wasn't a warrior. I was just a bully who happened to be skilled. Tyler swallowed hard. The weight of Malik's words hung between them. Malik continued, his voice tinged with regret but also peace. I walked away from competing after that. I couldn't carry the shame. I went back home, started taking odd jobs, trying to rebuild myself. I cleaned floors, fixed things, carried boxes. I learned to be invisible. And in that silence, I learned something bigger than victory. I learned humility. And slowly I started to see the beauty in the ordinary. The way a clean floor makes students feel safe. The way holding open a door for someone can change their day. Those became my victories. Tyler's chest tightened. But you could have been a master, Malik. You could have taught people. Why stay hidden? Malik smiled gently. Sometimes the greatest teachers don't stand in front of the class. They live among the students, showing lessons through small acts. Look, Tyler, yesterday wasn't about me beating you. It was about showing you that your belt, your strength, your speed, they mean nothing without humility. If you want to be more than just a fighter, you have to start by being a good man. Tyler looked down, his fists resting on his knees. For once he didn't feel angry. He felt opened, vulnerable. He finally whispered, "So, what should I do?" Malik chuckled softly. "Start with the little things. Say thank you more often. Listen instead of waiting for your turn to talk. Respect people, whether they're wearing a suit or scrubbing the bathroom. And in training, fight with honor, not with ego. Because one day, the world won't remember how many times you won. They'll remember how you made them feel." The dojo door creaked open as other students began to arrive. Tyler stood up slowly, the weight of Malik's words still sinking deep inside him. He looked at Malik differently now, not as a janitor, not even as a fighter, but as something rarer, a man who had mastered himself. That night when class began, Tyler trained differently. He moved with more patience, less pride. He helped a younger student with his stance, offering encouragement instead of showing off. His friends noticed, whispering about how strange it was to see him so humble. But Malik just kept mopping in the corner, smiling quietly. Days turned into weeks, and Tyler's transformation grew clearer. His temper faded, his focus sharpened. And every once in a while he'd glance at Malik, who would nod as if to say, "You're learning." Months later, Tyler found himself in another competition. He fought hard, but this time his mind wasn't on glory. It was on integrity. And when he lost a match, he bowed deeply to his opponent, thanking him with genuine respect. His teammates were shocked. The old Tyler would have stormed off. But Tyler felt lighter than he ever had before. As he left the mat, he saw Malik in the crowd, leaning on his mop like a staff. Malik gave him the smallest of nods, and Tyler smiled back, knowing he had finally understood the lesson. Because sometimes the greatest victories are the ones no one else can see, the battles within yourself, where humility triumphs over pride. And that night, when Tyler walked home under the streetlights, he whispered to himself, "Respect isn't earned through belt, it's lived through actions." If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to our channel Black Saga for more powerful and inspiring stories that remind us of the extraordinary power of kindness, belief, and second chances.